Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival. Right there is Night of the Witch from their upcoming 13th annual from Testament. It's called Titans of Creation. And we want to welcome back to Rock and Metal Revival lead vocalist of Testament, Chuck Billy. Welcome to the show, Chuck.
Hey, what's happening, man? Thanks for having me on again.
It's great to have you back. I mean, we're loving this CD, and I personally have loved, probably the last 4 or 5 Testament CDs have just been in my player since they came out. And I want to know,
Awesome.
you guys been going in with the same writing formula and the same idea when you go into each album, or if you got a different idea?
Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not the case. We definitely kind of approach every record, and I think when you're writing, because when we write, it's focused on that period. So when we write, something might be going on in someone's personal life. It changes the writing process. But I think for this record, we really focused on it because we just finished the Slayer farewell tour, and I think we had, the energy from that tour and the vibe, and just going into this record. But we really didn't know what direction it was going to go, but Eric really did deliver a pretty diverse selection of music that he gave me to work with, and it just really made for a much more dynamic-sounding record.
Well, nowadays bands rarely go into a room anymore and hammer out an album. How did the songwriting process for this release work?
Well, I mean, a lot of us are distant from each other, so me and Eric work together on most of the writing. We'll go down and lay down the basics and pick the riffs we're using and, start working on that. This record in particular, we really did write a bunch of riffs and music and lyrics over a lot of stuff, and basically went into the studio without a demo and just kind of went in there and put it together. And a lot of the songs, I'd say at least 4 or 5 of the songs vocally, lyrically, was really created kind of on the spot. We just kind of let the tape roll and mumbled our way through it, and found us finding little phrases or words here and there that kind of set the pace for the song and made us build on them. And it just really made it better in the sense that we didn't really get to kind of go back and overthink it, I guess.
Exactly. I've been a fan for a long time, and with this being the 33rd year of Testament, which just blows my mind that it's been that long.
Right.
Do you feel the same excitement for recording new albums, and do you still get that adrenaline when you hit the live stage?
I do. Doing the records, I mean, it depends. Again, like I said, Brotherhood of the Snake was a tough process. It was a 2-year process. This one was much better, and I think even after 13 studio records, like on this record, songs like City of Angels, I went out on I found myself using my voice in different texture and stuff and tones that I haven't really used on other records. And I did some, other things, like tried to do some harmonies on that song, and I never do that really at all. It's usually just backups with Eric and Alex. And so I found myself trying new things and finding new textures of voice, even after this many songs. So that, in that sense, it's kind of cool still creating and, trying new things.
I bet, and I know you were in Europe, and you got to test out some of this new music on the European crowd when you're on tour. How's it going over with the fans?
It was great. I mean, we had Night of the Witch coming out, I believe, before the tour started, so we played that the whole tour. And then I believe around March 6th, Children of the Next Level was released. We started playing that in London. And the response was great. I thought for sure, basically I really said when I came out, like, you're not going to know this song, but here it goes. And, they just came out that day and they actually knew it. And we're singing the chorus. So that was a good sign.
Yeah, that is a really good sign, because I know a lot of bands, when they put out new material, they might play that one single and then stick to the hits, but I've never seen Testament really go that direction.
No. It's funny is that this record, and I believe like the last record, usually when you go out on tour, you'll put like maybe 2 new songs up on a new record in the show and add slowly, but the last record, and I think this record as well, I mean, right out of the gate, we'll probably put 4 or 5 songs in the set, That's what we did off Brotherhood. I think we had 5 of the songs in the show right out of the gate, and it felt good. And I think that's what's going to happen with this record as well.
Now, it's been pretty well known that when you came back that you contracted the coronavirus. And how are you feeling, Chuck? Are you feeling better? How are things treating you?
I'm feeling much better. I mean, it's been, I started getting sick, I believe, on the 14th. So, it's been some time, going over 3 weeks now. 2 weeks, I was dead to the world and just couldn't shake it and felt awful. And, they didn't give us any medication. After I tested 3 days after being home, it took us about 8 days to get the test back and didn't give me the medication. So I kind of just rode it out and, had no energy, but finally just started feeling a little bit energetic and started getting up and moving, and day at a time start feeling better. And I think now we're over the hump. We're definitely feeling much better and getting more active now, getting outside, walking and exercising and, trying to feel normal again for sure.
Exactly, and that's great news to the ears of Testament fans that you're feeling better. And with the state of what's going on right now, are you guys holding off announcing any kind of tour with this new album?
Well, the tour that we were supposed to do was just supposed to start April 20th here, and I think actually we're going to be releasing a announcement in the next day or two here coming up about that tour. Of course, it's not going to happen, and then we're looking at the summer in Europe. Some of the festivals have announced cancellations, so we'll kind of see how that's going to pan out. But we have been planning an American tour in September that we've been working on for months, so I think we're going to kind of continue to try to complete that tour and, hope for the best that things work out and get kind of back to normal by then.
Well, I hear you. I know back a few years ago when they did the Big Four, I always thought, man, Testament should be on that lineup. It should be the Big Five. You ever thought or is there ever a possibility of that ever happening again?
Oh, I doubt it. I mean, those guys, when they call it the Big Four, those 4 bands definitely represent the Big Four of that time and era when they were, back in a time when we're selling records, and you're getting gold records and platinum records, so they definitely represent that for, that era for sure.
I hear you. And the other thing I wanted to ask you before we let you go, as I saw that this new release has been released on vinyl and cassette, did you ever think that day would happen again?
Not at all. I mean, no, not many people have cassette anymore, but it's a really cool novelty. It's a really cool shade of blue, the cassette. But Nuclear Blast is awesome about putting out vinyl and selling it in different editions, a picture disc or a blood splatter or a gold one, green one, red one, blue one. I mean, they do a great job with that, releasing cool collectible vinyl stuff. And they did a really beautiful box set with a nice 3D hologram on the front of it. That's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, Chuck, we appreciate you taking time to be on Rock and Metal Revival today. We're going to play another cut off the new Testament album. It's called Titans of Creation. And this track, we let you pick out. You wanted us to play City of Angels. Is there anything in particular or special about this song, Chuck?
Well, it's funny that we're playing it right now, and this is a song that I was at the beginning trying to I didn't want this song to make the record. And somehow it found its way through a weird way when we were writing. The guy, my partner I write lyrics with, I didn't want this on the record. I thought it wasn't fast enough to met up with the rest of the songs, but when I played it with my buddy writing, he had the song written already. So I read it through, and it worked, and I went back to the studio and sang it. And that was the song where I found different textures of my voice and different things and worked my way through it, and it turned out to be one of the standout tracks on the record now. So it's just funny, here you are playing it when I really didn't want it to make the record, and it's pretty awesome.
Well, I know, Chuck, I can't wait until this is all over and we can see Testament back out on the road again, and I want to thank you once again for coming on Rock and Metal Revival.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.